Do you ever feel like you need to spend hours layering, coloring, and fussy cutting to get a vintage botanical look? What if I told you you can create something just as stunning with way less effort? Hi friends, welcome back to Creative Coloring with Erum. Today I'm sharing a soft, vintage-inspired card with gorgeous botanical details, and it's surprisingly quick to pull together. I will use the Craft Your Life project kit, Garden Whispers, and I will stamp the 2 floral images from the stamp set onto Altenew's Citronella cardstock in Obsidian Pigment Ink. Now, if you want to make multiple cards, you can cover the entire page with images, but remember that you would need a panel of Citronella cardstock for the card front as well. After stamping, just to be on the safe side, use a heat tool to dry the ink. The inking is super simple. Place stencil 1 and apply sun-kissed fresh dye ink to the larger flower, leaving the tips slightly light. Then bring in orange cream fresh dye ink and add that to the base of the petals only. Next, apply ultramarine fresh dye ink to the smaller flower, covering the entire area, making sure the inking is more concentrated on the base of the petals. Next, bring in azurite fresh dye ink and apply this to only the base of the petals. Repeat the same to apply ink to the rest of the petals. Place the detailed flower layer and apply ink with a heavy hand. Apply ink to the flower center, concentrating more ink on the base of the area using the same ink colors. Now moving on to the leaves, I will first apply forest fern fresh dye ink to the base of the leafy bits and leave the tips for mossy meadow fresh dye ink. It is up to you whether you want to apply mossy meadow or forest fern first. I did it both ways. Moving on to the detailed layer, I will use the same inks, forest fern and mossy meadow fresh dye inks, with a heavy hand and apply them to the leaves. I will take a bit of mossy meadow fresh dye ink that's already on my mini blending brush and apply that through the detailed layer of the orange flower center and leftover forest fern on the mini blending brush to the flower center of the blue flower. Once done, I realized I needed to add darker inking through the detailed layer of the leaves, so I applied green opal fresh dye ink and applied forest fern with a very heavy hand. To color in the stamens, I'm using Artist Alcohol Marker in jet black. I'm coloring these using the bullet tip. Once done, I will use a white gel pen to add some dots. Next, I will use one of the fine liner pens, size 1 or 2, and add dot detail to the images. You don't have to do this, but it elevates your work and makes your design look even more gorgeous, adding to the botanical look that I am going for. Next, using the coordinating die, I cut out the images, and I will show you the images up close. I added more dots and details so you can see that they look really cool. You don't have to do this, but it does make the image stand out and look different from maybe other people's cards. And this is something I do often to make the image look a tad different. And look at how beautiful this looks on colored cardstock. It gives a vintage vibe. And as I said, this is Citronella. You can use other colored cardstock to just change the vibe of the project. And it is how it would look on toned cardstock. You don't even have to use a specialty paper or cardstock. Just use Altenew cardstock in lighter colors. I will arrange the images on 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel of Citronella cardstock and adhere them with insert dimension foam tape. Then cut off the excess. I will then tuck in the excess cut off pieces to cover the entire panel. Once the images are all on the panel, I will adhere the sentiment, which by the way took me a while to decide. first it was this one, then it was this one, and then I finally settled on the one you are seeing now. And just like that, you have created a vintage style floral card that looks way more complex than it actually is. I really hope you'll try this technique with different colors. It's so easy to switch it up. Have you ever tried ink blending over colored cardstock? It's such a fun way to transform a project's vibe. And if you're like me and love adding tiny details with pens, I'd love to hear. Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to tag me or Altenew if you create something inspired by today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next time. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!